Yes, good evening, students. So today, the most anticipated law entrance of the year, CLAT 2026, was conducted on 7th December 2025. And yes, as per the general poll, it is understood that the paper has been moderate. And yes, but the paper pattern is as always the same with 5 sections. And they have kept that weightage also in the same manner with legal reasoning and current affairs with 25%, and English and logical with 20% and quantitative with 10%. But every paper or every competitive exam especially does not exist without a surprise element. So this year we cannot say it is an unexpected, but an expected surprise element was the logical reasoning section. So they have gone back to the conventional testing of analytical and logical understanding rather than the critical reasoning where we would have passages. So they are focused on patterns and arrangements and for the blood relation type of questions, which test the students' particular understanding of identifying properly the correct answer. Now, moving on to quants, there's no much surprises. It's just basically ratio, proportions, and percentages. And it was just 10% of the paper, and there's nothing much more to discuss regarding the same. Now, coming to the current affairs and general knowledge, which is having the most weightage in the paper, that is around 25%, we can see that whatever happened throughout the year, whether it is tragedy, whether it is success, whether it is any in development in the international or national field, they have tried to include it over passages that is mentioned in that particular section. Now, if you're going through the section in detail, we can see that they are focused on the Pahalgam tragedy, which further included also about the Operation Sindoor, and further also the Air India Dreamliner tragedy that happened, which took life except one soul, and that was a specific question that was mentioned in that particular passage. But they have also elaborated regarding the H-1B visa, which was introduced after Donald Trump got his second candidature in US. And moving on to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which happened this year, which is the most important conference that happened, where we could see the collaboration between India, China, Russia, and many other countries. So these are the most important news or current affairs that were discussed mainly in the section of current affairs and GK, which we had discussed in our classes as well as in our blogs in detail. And I did not find any surprising element in any of these, except the fact that, okay, maybe the chess aspect, you might have not predicted the same, but this year was indeed chess in the sports quota of India. Now, moving on to the legal reasoning. Yes, many students have mentioned that it felt a bit like current affairs itself, but they have focused on the legal news under the legal reasoning aspect. And they started with one nation, one election, and further moved on to the landmark judgment that came this year, that is the governor versus state of Tamil Nadu, that put the rule or the articles regarding the president's veto power and governor's veto power regarding bills. So it was a very big landmark judgment that happened this year, which was throughout during the first half of the 2025. And further, if you check, they have also focused a bit on the landmark judgment in the year of 2023, that is the same-sex marriage. So legal reasoning was focusing more on the legal news aspect rather than the legal subject knowledge. But yes, we can say, obviously, for a law student, constitution is the basic subject. That is the fundamental of law. So they are focused on passages, subjective passages regarding preamble and the constitution, and also regarding prime minister and the council of ministers in the case of Manoj Narula versus Union of India. Now, coming to English, English as always is fun, subjective, and yes, they focus more on the phrasing of the question, that is the main idea, central idea, and the passage inferences. And also, yes, English, when it comes to English, what we all have confusions. At the same time, what's more interesting is obviously the literary device, synonyms and antonyms from the passage. So English was indeed a very simple, at the same time, yet a bit confusing section. But yes, the questions are nothing shocking in the English section as well. They have focused on the tone of the passage. At the same time, few of the passages are focused on the literary devices and also the synonyms of the words or antonyms of the word based on the context of the passage. So comparatively, this year's paper was indeed can be considered as a moderate paper just because of a predictable shock or surprise from the logical reasoning section, which might have been unpredicted by the students, but that is a conventional method which CLAT has been following. Even, for example, last year there was a surprise element of circular arrangements in the section of logical reasoning. So, yes, as per this year's paper, it is moderate and it is focused and on vast knowledge regarding current affairs, GK, and legal news, which included regarding international collaborations, developments, tragedies as well. As I had mentioned earlier, as per the general rule, this year's paper was moderate for the students, but the expected cutoff, which we predict today, is plus or minus 2, and we go with a weightage for -2 a bit because that is a new prediction, but we'll wait for the 100% of answer key and the results. And at the same time, this year's CLAT paper deciding factor mainly because, as I mentioned earlier, the surprise element was the logical reasoning section, and therefore it is actually the deciding factor for this CLAT 2026 paper. And those students who have done well in their logical reasoning section, you have a true ticket towards CLAT 2026. So with this, we wind up the analysis of CLAT 2026 paper. And yes, for further updates, details regarding the CLAT paper or regarding the recent current affairs, please do visit our website, GreatLearnPro. And all the best for your results, and hope you all have a wonderful results and fly with true colors. Thank you and have a great day.